Welcome to the Welsh Yogi Podcast. Hello everyone and welcome to the Wisdom of the Sages podcast. I'm your host Kishtuba with Ragnar.
Ragnar! Hey Kishtuba! Woohoo! Lots of fun goodies! He says it like that.
It makes noise. Hello and welcome to the Welsh Yogi Podcast.
Broadcasting live from the Valley of Cardiff.
Cardiff Bay, South Wales.
So welcome to the Welsh Yogi Podcast. We are recording from Cardiff, in Cardiff Bay. Mm-hmm. In fact, we can see out the window Cardiff Bay.
It's very beautiful.
Beautiful. This is the Welsh Yogis. And before we start, I'm Gopal, and you are...
Bhakta-rupa.
And we just want to say, if you find anything of interest, then you can get in contact through our website, which is T-Y, Krishna, Krishna .Cymru, Cymru.
Yeah.
And also we regularly hold programs every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. in the Atma Lounge in Cardiff, Queen Street. So everyone's welcome to come if they want to find anything more about spiritual life. Confirmed.
That's in the Capital Shopping Centre opposite KFC. Little fun fact about Cardiff Bay.
Oh yeah.
Did you know it used to be mud flats?
I don't even know what mud flats are.
Mud flats are sort of big plains of muddy land, you know?
Uh-huh.
Like if you ever drive over the Severn Bridge and go to England, heaven forbid,
uh-huh.
You can sometimes see that the tide's high and sometimes see that it's just mud. So Cardiff Bay also used to be just mud. But actually, there was a big redevelopment around the year 2000 where the Cardiff Council built a big barrage that blocked the water coming from the river.
I've lost you already. I've lost you already.
Wait, where did you lose me?
I don't know what you're on about. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Cardiff Bay redevelopment programme.
Okay, why are you talking about this? You're trying to be interesting or something.
I'm just trying to educate people about Cardiff Bay and the history.
Yeah.
So basically, they've built a barrage that keeps the water in, which allows it to be very beautiful, as opposed to just loads of mud.
Uh-huh.
And that encourages tourism, which allows Mermaid Quay and the
Mermaid Quay,
yeah, and the Welsh Government building and T Krishna.
Uh-huh.
See, because otherwise
that's what you were leading into.
Leading it to T Krishna is actually located in the heart of Cardiff Bay, which is the cultural centre for Wales, and it's a building built in the 1890. Where's my glasses?
What's got into? Go on.
Wait, I got to be serious again.
Roald Dahl's father used to work there.
Yeah, it used to be a coal exchange or a building that used to trade goods and things, and that whole area became a bit dilapidated after the coal industry collapsed, and for a while there it was a very rough area with not much interest. But then they built the barrage, and here we are. This house would be rubbish. What's this got
to do with yoga and Krishna consciousness then?
I'm just bigging up and what we're doing at T Krishna is we're building a facility that will allow any person to gain access to these ancient yoga teachings at any level. So whether you're brand new or whether you're an experienced practitioner, we'll have a sacred space, a library, a yoga studio, an exhibition centre, a cafe, guest houses, rooftop garden. It's going to be a facility that you won't want to miss, and we're going to start building it very soon. You know, so stay tuned, watch this space, and
yeah, if you go on the website, you'll be able to see the video, the plans.
Yeah, tkrishna.cymru/project. You can see a little video, the vision, and yeah, and it all started from the Cardiff Bay redevelopment project of the year 2000, which I learned about in year 6.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. And we went on a school trip and we walked along the barrage, and they've even got like a specially designed like waterfall which allows fish to come in and out of the bay without getting like killed. Because they let water out based on the rainfall into the ocean. Like sometimes you go to the barrage and it's just flooding water out. It's quite interesting actually, because the Severn Estuary, this could be the whole podcast. The Severn Estuary has the third highest tidal range in the entire world. So high tide versus the low tide is the third biggest difference.
In Cardiff.
In the Severn Estuary, the Severn Bridge goes over. It's the gap between Wales and England. It's got the third highest tidal range, which is why, like in Swansea, they were thinking about building a big tidal power plant.
They were thinking of. I saw the plans for that. A big tidal dragon-shaped city.
Really?
Is that what you're on about as well?
Yeah, but then they scrapped that and built a cheese bridge.
Swansea Council are just pathetic. They can't do anything.
No offence, obviously.
No offence to anyone from Swansea Council who may be listening, and we're grateful for all your opportunities that you've given us in the past.
I know we're big in Swansea Council.
Yeah.
But I think that's enough geography lesson for today.
No, thank you, Bhakta-rupa.
I don't know if that was
interesting. No, you learn everything in this podcast. That's why I like it.
Yeah, it's not just yoga.
So, because, okay, here's something then. Whatever you pay attention to, because you say it is interesting, and I was getting more interested the more you were talking about it.
Okay, cool. I knew that I'd lost you at the beginning.
Yeah, I didn't know what you were on about, but I think it's the principle of if you pay something attention, it becomes interesting. So, like, people collect stamps, and people go train spotting, and the more you give like this video cropped up on my social media. I'm just shooting the breeze now, and anything I say of interest, pick it up.
It will be used in evidence.
So, what's his name? Jordan Peterson?
Yeah.
So he was saying that if you're having a conversation with someone, he was saying people are extremely interesting. And when we went to see His Holiness Kesava Bharati Swami, I know one of the things he always likes to explain is that behind every face, there's a whole story there. I mean, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yagyatfana Panamo Hamivam Yashapandava, that every person is part of the Supreme. And there's all those verses in the second chapter which talk about the living entity being actually a spirit soul. And what's that verse? Ascharyavat paschit kashchit einam, Ascharyavat videti te vachanyaha, that some look at the soul as amazing, some hear of it as amazing, some see it's amazing, and some, even after hearing all about it, don't understand it at all. So anyway, this video, Jordan Peterson was saying that people are extremely interesting, and if you're in a conversation and you're not finding it interesting, that's because you're the boring one. He was saying, because people are fascinating. In fact, if someone's actually telling you about themselves, if you're paying attention, then they're extremely interesting. And if you can actually hear without, getting rid of all the things that you've projected on them by the way they look or by the way they talk, or if you're thinking about already what you want to say, but when they finish or things like that, then you won't properly hear them. So I was just connecting this to spiritual life, that if we can actually really pay attention, and like one of the spiritual practices we do is this meditation of mantra meditation, right? Chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. And if we can pay attention to the mantra, pay attention to the spiritual practices, then life really starts to open up.
That's nice.
That's what I was thinking about as I was bored when I was listening to you originally, but then it started to become
you were
quite
waiting
interesting.
for me to finish talking. Yeah, no, that's where attention goes, energy flows, isn't it? And it's real. Like it's funny you mentioned Jordan Peterson, because he came up on my feed recently, talking about a good friend is someone who will let you talk, not say you've got a problem and you start telling. Some people are like, oh yeah, I've had a similar problem, yeah, I experienced the same thing, yeah, and they try and make it about themselves. But a good friend will let you talk.
Yeah, because I was letting you talk then. Because we did a coaching session, and they said that what you have to try and do when you're coaching someone, you ask them relevant questions so they actually solve their own problem. And what you don't do is jump in and say, Like if someone's saying, you know, I really
I can't stop eating donuts, Gopal.
yeah. So if someone says I can't stop eating donuts, instead of, there's a couple of things that we actually knee-jerk reaction tend to do is say, either just prescribe a remedy straight away, like, oh, you should go on a diet, or you should not eat donuts, or you should do this. But and that's one of the things you have to refrain from doing. And another thing you should refrain from doing is saying, you eat donuts, I eat donuts as well. You know, I used to have that problem, and this is what happened to me. And then, but they encourage, actually, you ask the right questions. Actually, Melanie, you know Melanie?
Yeah.
She's going to do a little workshop with some of us about how to actually coach and how to listen. And then she'd probably tell me all the things I'm saying are wrong. But so instead you say, how do you think you could stop eating donuts?
Yeah.
What do you think you should do?
Yeah.
And then the answer comes then, and that can be applied to anything.
Yeah, it's powerful as well. Me and Ellis went to Bhakti-Vedanta Manor just on Monday to see Vaisheshika, who came to Cardiff.
Yeah.
He gave a talk, and the whole talk was about questions, and he was saying that, like, a question mark, if you just look at the way it's shaped, it's like a hook, you know, and you can throw a question at someone, and it hooks them to the conversation. So by asking the right questions, you can, like, pull people. You can, like, sort of get things out of people, you know, for them and for you, you know. But it's interesting, that power of attention, and how every single person has something to say, and you can learn something from every single moment if you give attention to that moment. Because so many people are either their attention is the present moment, they're suffering, so they start making plans for the future, like, I need to be happy in the future, so I'm going to do this and this, and then yes, I'm going to work over there and move this over here. And actually, that's just a dream world. It's just something that's been made up in their mind, like, to take them out of the present moment, so that attention is in the dream space, or they're in the past saying, I should have been like that, should have done this, should have done that, and it's not actually going anywhere. But actually, if you bring your attention into the present moment, you can always learn something about someone, and like you said, every single person is unique and special. I think you said that. You mentioned the Bhagavad Gita, was it? The soul.
Some look at it as amazing, some see it as amazing.
You were saying Keshava Bharati
Yeah.
Maharaj said that behind every face is a
There's whole story.
So it's like building up the picture of life.
That's really interesting. Yeah, there's this idea of in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about the Lord in the heart, or the Paramatma. And there's this conception of the teacher in the room. So, like, I call it the teacher in the room because I think I heard Vaisheshika would just coin a phrase, but basically it's that sometimes you can ask yourself a question, what should I do? You know, and you have this, what's the word, like this almost inner conscious, this inner dialogue, and you can be fed the answers. And I think, because you were saying things like you can learn from every moment if you pay attention. And I was wondering, because sometimes we do have mistakes, and we do make mistakes, and we feel lost in life. And sometimes you do feel like there's nothing to learn, and there's nowhere to go, and there's no way out. But this idea of, if we can actually take time to be introspective and really ask the Paramatma, the Lord in the heart, what should I do? Please help me. There's a teacher in the room. I'm having this I just don't know where to go now. Please help me. What shall I? Sometimes you get fed answers. And if you're really lost and you don't get fed answers, and you really pray and you're sincere, then you do find someone will come along that will give you the answer, or you'll read something from Bhagavad Gita that will teach you which way to go, tell you the next step.
Yeah, and I find, like, because when you're in that desperate position where you are feeling disconnected and hopeless, you can actually call out in a much more sincere way, like, whatever you want to say, Krishna, God, Allah, universe, help me. I need some help here. I'm really struggling. Can you show me what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, what's the meaning of this? Where am I going? Like, how, there's obviously a meaning to life. Life isn't meaningless, right? What would be the point in a meaningless life? Even if it's your own meaning, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking. Because
So
what would someone say? So I say there is no. That's what I wonder. So if someone says there is no meaning to life, right? It all just happened by chance. So you can't say chance. Chance isn't a causative thing, right? It's just a mathematical probability. I could do heads or tails, 50-50. So you can't say everything happened by chance, because chance doesn't describe anything.
Yeah,
it's like
'cause
saying everything happened by magic.
a coin can't flip itself.
Yeah. What's the cause is me flipping the coin.
Yeah.
So you can't say, oh, why is that heads? You can't say, oh, it's chance.
Yeah. Because chance requires a cause.
Yeah, you could say that's heads because I have a coin that has one side tails, one side heads. I flipped it in the air, and then you have a 50-50 chance of what side's going to be up. So if someone says there's no meaning, well, then they'd say like it just happened.
But yeah, the thing is though, I feel like it's like a intrinsic thing that life does mean something, because things mean stuff to us, even if it's like a dream. Like when something happens, it matters. When someone says something to you, it means something to you. You know? So ultimately, there must be a ultimate meaning.
I think it is important, because either there is a meaning, and that's important, or someone, because people do believe that there is no meaning, right?
Yeah.
So those people who believe there's no, then it is, everything is completely pointless.
Yeah.
Like, there's no even point arguing whether there's a meaning or not, because it's pointless.
Yeah, and in that state of pointlessness, it's a horrible position. Like you feel, because I've been there. Like, there's no meaning to life. Like, what's the point anymore? Why am I carry on? Like, what? Nothing means anything. Like, it's all, that's a distressful situation to find yourself in, because it's actually opposite to the truth. The less in line with the truth you are, the more depressed you feel.
Yeah.
The less you line yourself up with reality, the more uncomfortable you feel.
And it's so, there is, like you said, you feel it's quite obvious that there's a meaning. And in one sense, because, like, if I can look at this microphone and you can say, what's the meaning of this microphone? Well, it has a certain function, and you can tell by the way it looks, by the way it's, from previous experiences, etc. This has a meaning, right?
Yeah.
So, I can't remember where I'm going with this now. So if you look at life, like, you can see that there is purpose.
Yeah.
Like what the Atma, what's the verse?
You get something like that, isn't it?
And under my boy sat. The meaning is actually to find pleasure and happiness.
Yeah.
This is the.
That's my dad's Prabhupada quote.
Yeah.
He said, Prabhupada said that the meaning of life is to be happy.
Uh-huh.
So like this is because we started off talking about, like, we got down this kind of squirrel, down this like path.
Went down a squirrel.
Down a squirrel. But we went down this little path just because we were talking about, like,
Cardiff Bay.
calling out to.
Yeah, go on. Yeah. So, yeah.
Calling out to the universe, in a state of suffering, calling out, and I was thinking, like, when you are in that suffering position, that's the best time to ask, like, what is the meaning of life? Like,
yeah, thanks for putting us back on track. Yeah.
Why am I here? What's the meaning of life? And when you're in that low situation, when you're in that meaningless, when you feel disconnected and you feel depressed, that's when you can call out with a lot of feeling. And the more feeling that you call out to God with, to Krishna with, the more reciprocation you get. Because he's a person that actually, like, wants the best for every single person. And it's like, if a baby's crying, that's fine. If a baby's crying, then the mother will want to fix it straight away. The screen went black.
I was looking at the screen.
I'm making a profound point here.
Yeah, sorry.
It's fine.
To be honest with you, I was distracted because I was looking at the video. Yeah. And I'm so much more smaller than you in the video because I'm a little bit further behind.
Real life as well, like.
I am a little bit smaller, but not as much as the video is making out. But yeah, go on. So you were saying more since you are
No, the more
The more
feeling
feeling,
you call out to the universe, what's
the
the
more
meaning of life?
reciprocation is there.
Yeah, because it's like if a baby is crying out for its mother, the mother's gonna pick it up and see to it straight away. But if a baby's quite happy in its play box and just doing its stuff, the mother doesn't even pay attention. So similarly, when we're here in this world and we feel quite happy, you know, there's happiness, there's distress, you know, going out with the boys on the weekend, it's all right. Like, I don't have to think about the meaning of life. There's no, you know, when you feel in like a materially comfortable situation, that thought of like the meaning of life and those kinds of situations, they're not really in your mind. But when you're in that distressful situation, you can start to make headway towards that kind of quest.
That's because one of the books we give out is Teachings of Queen Kunti, isn't it? And Queen Kunti,
Give a lot of those out.
she was a yogi that prays, like almost prayed for distress over and over again. Because when I'm in that distressful condition, then I take shelter of the supreme spiritual reality, Krishna. And when I get distracted by this world, then I don't. So sometimes pain and distress can be conducive for our spiritual advancement. You know, sometimes we can get almost numb and distracted by the mass consensual trance of just the being going along with the herd and being just brain dead with this the day-to-day humdrum of life. I mean, it's there, but you have civilizations meant you do, you know, the day-to-day activities, but it's just to maintain body and soul and live comfortably in this world and then in the real life's all about advancing spiritually and tasting spiritual advancement and the different you know, spiritual emotions and ecstasies that arise as one is trying to practice Krishna
I think
consciousness.
So many people that we meet on the street, because the likelihood is the person who's listening right now, we've met them on the street at some point. There's so many people out there that are actually introspective and do understand that there's more to life than just sort of consumerism and sort of the official line that we get taught. So many people understand that there's more to life, but they just haven't got like the kind of means of escaping it fully, you know. They haven't had the Morpheus red pill scene, you know.
And a lot of people are jaded. They, what's the word, like disillusioned by like we go to these things like the spiritual, what is it called, the spiritual
conference.
Or it was called the healthy living show. We used to give out juices and stuff and food there, and it was like a display. You had like all these like people looking at your angels, people like looking at your auras. You had people saying, you know, this was spiritual path, natural living show. There's one in Swansea, but you get them all over the world. You know, these
dream catchers
and I think people are, after like so many years, and especially when, you know, they're being taught that there's no such thing, for example, as spiritual life, etc., then people just become disillusioned. They just think, it's just, this must not be real, just like everything else that isn't real. And then they really like, there's no way out.
But that's the line that I remember when I read the Bhagavad Gita as it is. The line in the introduction said that one should at least theoretically accept that Krishna is real, you know? And like that theoretical acceptance, like try it. If you're listening now and you are in that skeptical part, like try it. Just ask the universe, like ask Krishna, like if you're real, show me. You know, like if you're real, I don't know.
Oh my God! Hello.
I have heard your prayer.
I didn't expect that to happen.
But that's actually, last week we had Daichari, Harry, on the podcast. And if you haven't listened to it, it's really worth a listen. But he was like in this crazy situation in Ireland, and he was like sharing houses with these mad people, and he was really trying to figure out the meaning of life. So he sat down and he wrote a letter to God. He said basically, "Dear God, I'm fed up. You know, I don't care anymore. Good or bad, I don't care anymore. I just want to know there must be a meaning to life. And if there is a meaning to life, make it clear. I want to know the answer. I want to know the meaning of life. If it's true, then make it so. So he sat down and he wrote this letter. And literally, as soon as he finished writing the letter, the landlord knocked on the door. And he said, "Right, you're all evicted. I need you to get out of this house."
Mm-hmm.
And it was like an immediate response, because he was in distress and he sincerely wrote a letter. It was like a very, plus he's a special soul, he's on some other level in so many ways, but just interesting. Like, you could even do that. You could write down a letter and say, okay, I want to know. I want to know some answers. I want to figure more of this out. And that endeavor, that desire, that leads you. The power of writing things down can lead you anywhere. Just writing something down. I will do this. I promise to do this to myself.
Yeah, it's being determined. Because I remember thinking like that. Like, there's got to be some point to life, and I was just searching, constantly looking. And I think, again, if you should ask why. Everyone has these questions. What's the point of life? What's the meaning? Is there any higher experiences that I should get? What? And then you just keep asking those questions. You don't give up asking them, or just think, or just accept a post-dated check of, we don't know, but maybe we'll find out in the future. You just keep asking those questions until you find the answer. They're so determined. What's the Vyasa Atmika Budi Kunanda Bohu Shaka Hinantas Cha? That if you have to be
single pointed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like an arrow. And that determination, it transforms your life into a quest, because at the moment, like, I personally felt like going through union school, it's like, what really am I doing here? Do I want to get a job and work for the man or whatever, like, what's the point of life? But no, what's the meaning of life? What's the meaning of life? And turn your life into a quest. Like, I wanna understand the purpose of life, and I want to fulfill my highest potential in life, and I want to develop my relationship and be connected to this universe and present in the moment, And I don't want to just like we've talked about so many times, just kind of blindly follow this herd of people just going with the energy of, oh, we're going this way now, we're going that way. No, like, turn your life into a quest. Go for it, And 100%, because this is, even for me, at the age of 11, I read that quote, "The unexamined life is not worth living," and it just struck me, and I was like, okay, let's figure this out. Let's listen to some philosophy podcasts. Let's just figure it out and turn your life into a quest. And there'll be times where you do feel yourself covered by that herd mentality, and you forget all about your quest. But then occasionally, at those times of distress, when everything stops and you actually stop and look at your life and introspect, then it's like, oh yeah, the quest. My life's got, what is the meaning of life?
It's the main. It is the main goal, is self-realization. And there's side quests. Yeah. Like, you have in computer gaming, you have different side quests that you do, but you don't get the game completed unless you have your main mission.
That's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, because there are examples of it. Like, when you read, what Krishna is speaking to Arjuna, the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita, you see that in play when you read Srimad Bhagavatam, or it's what's the word? It's documented of Lord Chaitanya and his associates, and you can see it even today if you go to communities of devotees.
Yeah.
It's like, I see it in our community in Cardiff. You see people actually, people have, you live a life, you have jobs, you're married, you have kids, but you live an exciting life of spiritual experience and development. And it's something that's very tangible. It can be experienced.
Yeah, keyword development as well, isn't it? Sorry to cut you, but that's the beauty of, if you're this world is a multiplayer world. Like, if we turn it into a video game, there's so many living beings here, right?
You like the video game
analogies? I love video games, and if you really want to excel towards that ultimate quest, you need to get around a clan or a group of people. Like in a video game, you get a little team to tackle a challenge, and that's the thing. When you're with devotees in the crew, and you can watch other people leveling up, and them leveling up encourages and inspires you to level up, and we're all pulling ourselves up. You know, it's like a super positive environment to be around.
It's interesting because Krishna also says in the back, "Hebakran vinasasni video sva album dharma that any advancement you get is never lost." And that's the same. At least some of the games I played, you level up, you never level down.
Yeah.
You know, once you reach a level, then you might be stuck on that level for some time. But eventually you do go up. So any spiritual advancement you make in this life is never lost.
Yeah, whereas material advancement does level down. Usain Bolt can't run that same 100 meters anymore. His body's degraded. You know, he's older. Same like Picasso can't paint anymore. Do you know why? He's dead. You know? So it's like... Newsflash, Picasso's dead. Everyone who ever did anything is dead. And anyone who ever will do anything will be dead.
But the soul doesn't die, right?
Exactly.
So you don't actually
never
die.
lose progress on this path. It's eternal credit. So why not just spend a couple of months, weeks, years, lifetime leveling up in a permanent way, you know? That was what struck me about the Gita. Like I was doing tattoo, I was making art, and I read the Bhagavad Gita, and it spoke about how everything in the universe will eventually crumble. And I looked around at my whole kind of bedroom full of art, and I was like, this is all going to go. And it all means nothing, you know? But then it talks about how you can spiritualize any activity. So suddenly you can start making artworks which are for the upliftment of society, for the upliftment of humanity, you know? Not saying that mine does that, but like when you spiritualize something, it's adding to that eternal thing. So that's the cool thing as well. It's like you don't have to give up the world. You just have to start using the world towards the end game goal, which is self-realization.
Yeah, it's a practical yoga lifestyle, isn't it?
Sick as well.
You just put everything in perspective.
Yeah, go on a quest, like, and that's the. I always thought that as well. Since becoming a monk, we are like living in I always thought it was like GTA. Like we're traveling around the country, like staying in random places, distributing books, going to music festivals, like going on so many different missions to try and give people these books which can help them to sort of get above that water, get above the automatic life. And we're connecting with people on that platform. You're a soul and you're important. This is something that's revolutionary, you know, like to get told that you're important by someone on the street and that person mean it. It doesn't happen. But I can say that to people and mean it. Because I'm starting to realize that every single person is important and part of something greater than just, you know, EastEnders and Emmerdale and a
like we said biscuit. Before, it's just it's not just pointless.
There's a meaning. You are important, you know?
I can remember speaking to, you get a boyfriend and a girlfriend, and one of them thinks, oh yeah, there is no point to life. There is no spiritual reality. There is no self-consciousness beyond the material chemicals. But then it's like, okay, well, is that what you think your girlfriend is? Mm-hmm. Your girlfriend is, if I just wrote down on a piece of paper all the chemicals, I could probably just order another copy of her on eBay, right? Like, with all the, and is that all she is? And then if you're really going to live that philosophy, then you have to say, well, yeah, but she wasn't comfortable with that. Yeah. Because deep down we know we're not just matter. What is consciousness? There's no anyone who prescribes to a materialistic or atheistic or nihilistic philosophy cannot explain consciousness. Ask a neuroscientist. There is absolutely no evidence whatsoever that consciousness comes from the brain. There is none. People who think there is have not studied it, or have there is no evidence, fact. Yeah. There's absolutely none. Yeah. The brain is a hub of electrical impulses. Yeah. But the experience of electrical impulses, or even the actual qualia, or the actual picture that's been projected on the screen of your mind.
Yeah, the experience, like.
Yeah, where is that? Yeah. Where in the brain is that? What chemical combination all of a sudden produces this consciousness? Yeah. If you prescribe to materialistic philosophy, you do not have a clue, and you cannot answer that question.
It's true. It's like saying that a video game is conscious. Like there's a character in the video game. Like you need to be a player.
Yeah, there's NPCs.
A game doesn't play itself. If you just put a simulation on, those characters in the game aren't experiencing anything. But if you're holding the controller and actually playing, you're having an experience.
Yeah, that experiencing element is like, that's the important thing going on there. And that's the Atma. And this is what Krishna explains, is the very, very first instruction of yoga he gives to Arjuna. That's a very first instruction, that you as a conscious living entity are a different quality of energy than your body. That's lesson number 1. And then the rest of the Bhagavad Gita is just building up from that point. So much we may talk about when we talk about spiritual life is just taking it for granted that one has at least theoretically grasped this concept that you are not the body.
Spirit soul.
You are spirit soul.
An actor on a stage trying to play a role. A part and a parcel trying to be the whole. And all this playing around is really taking its toll. You are a spirit soul. You're an actor on a stage trying to play a role. You're a part and a parcel trying to be the whole. And all this playing around is really taking... Anyway. But no, that's cool. That was... I feel like I learned some stuff.
Yeah.
And like...
So biggest title change.
Biggest title range.
Third
biggest
in the world. Fantastic.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful place. They've even got like a nature reserve. Have you seen the nature reserve over here?
It's nice looking out that this window. This is a nice place. This is called the Contemporary Vedic Ashram where we're sitting at the minute. And any young man who wants to taste spiritual life, at least for some time, wants to just... Yeah. Or even if one's studying in university in Cardiff or working, if you want to give it a flavour, then again, please get in touch.
A week, a month, a year.
Yeah, try some. Just taste it.
And this is where the questers are at. You want to join the quest. This is where it starts. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're in that age bracket, you can join a quest at any stage. But I started off in the CVA here, and it's just like, as far as a facility goes, it's really close to T Krishna. Beautiful views. You've got Gopal, who's like an experienced practitioner. Yeah, and and good boys, like a crew. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We've got a nice community here. I mean, we've got a worldwide community, and there's many different lifestyle choices that one can really flourish in spiritual life. So this Contemporary Vedic Ashram is for one particular, I guess, bracket, or one, especially if one's like a young male,
early 20s. So
that just wants to try it. Then this facility is here, but at any stage in life, any place, then one can take up spiritual life, and one should just at least try it. Yeah. Because otherwise, how are you going to make a balanced decision in life? How are you going to, if you want to prescribe to just, okay, I'm just going to try and enjoy this world and forget about anything religious or spiritual, then that's fine. But if you haven't actually tried the ulterior, then you're just going with the first choice. It's called it's like a lazy man's, what do they call it? You have maximizers and psychologically you have two kinds of people. One just tries to find the best deal, looks at all different comparisons and wants to go with the best thing for the best price. And then the other is I'll just take the first thing I find and just carry on here. I'm the latter usually.
Yes.
But at least with life, we shouldn't be so complacent. We should really, really figure out, because you're worth it and you deserve the best.
Yeah, you're special. You're important. Write a letter to God.
Okay. We've been Welsh yogis. Send your letters in, and we'll send them forward to the Lord.
We'll post them on. Nice one, guys. Thanks for listening. Hari Krishna.
We love all our listeners.
We love everyone. Thank you. Share it with a friend. It's a National Share It With a Friend episode. So if you have a friend that's interested in this quest of life, then this is the podcast to give to them.
Is that what we're going to call the podcast? Join the quest or something?
Maybe.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's good. Quest.
Hari Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Madashikshana Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar